find that as a creative, it can get very boring doing the same thing all the time. It gets exhausting. You're doing the same thing all the time. It becomes a habit and it's no longer fun. So I decided to try something new. I shot film for the first time, and that's a big deal for me. The idea of shooting film always felt really archaic. Why? It's 2017. You have digital photography, it's available, it's at your fingertips, it's functional and it gets stuff done. But then I got bored and decided to try film, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Shooting film was a creative breath of fresh air that I needed to re-energize my work. See, here's the thing about photography for me, and I don't know if a lot of you have the same issue, but as I add more gear to my list, as I'm adding more things to the options that I have at my disposal, it just feels like one giant production. Not a fun production. You can't go out without 2 lenses in your bag. You can't possibly shoot without a studio light on location or some form of artificial lighting on location. You can't possibly shoot with anything less than 22 megapixels. It just becomes absolute nonsense. You tend to start bringing more gear as you learn more. And I think stripping a lot of that away and learning how to use the bare essentials can change you as a photographer. So it's cool to go back to my basics, a camera and a lens. And let me also admit that at one point I did use a studio strobe in a studio environment while shooting film, but that was simply to test what the before and after would look like, what film looked like versus digital. And I'll post 2 images right now so you guys can see the differences between film and digital. And I'll be honest, I don't think that the film image is as tack sharp as the digital image or the equivalent of the digital image. But there's just a certain tone and texture that film has that was very difficult to try to replicate with digital. You also notice from the videos, and I recommend this for anybody who's picking up their first film camera, and there's nothing wrong with this. Chimp. Use a digital camera to preview what your film is going to look like. Set it to the equivalent value of your film camera and look at that as a preview. It's 2017. Those of you that shot film, those of you that are film enthusiasts, you guys know that back when film was prevalent, people used Polaroids to preview their images and what their lighting was going to be like. There's nothing wrong with taking your digital camera and previewing what a film shot is going to look like. There's nothing wrong with that at all. A lot of the images that you're gonna see and a lot of the behind the scenes video that you're getting overlaid now has me shooting both digital and film in order to see the differences between the two. I'm shooting a 5DS and I'm also shooting with a couple film cameras on set. I'll know exactly which one's on the screen for you guys right now. Now, make sure you're using those digital files to have some sort of preview before moving forward. You don't wanna go back to a print house or try to develop those photos and that you're underexposed or overexposed for your specific context. I'd rather you guys save money in the long run. Just try it out. See the differences that are there if you're trying to do something new. Now I'm also gonna admit this because this is funny in its own way, in its own light. I learned what camera to buy. I learned how to load film. I learned what film to buy. I learned everything about film photography, minus how to take out the film, which posed a very interesting point throughout the day when I couldn't figure out how to take the film out of the camera.
Need a head?
Yeah, it's just like that.
Is it still locked?
No, it's on auto. This is what I just put shit out. How to load, let's say, unload 35mm film. This is when you can laugh. Unloading a 35mm SLR. Let's look at this. This is something I wouldn't have known. Like, who knows this about this super little button? Okay.
I mean, us old guys learn by ourselves, I guess.
What? That's so cool. Well, thank you, Kyle. You're amazing. So much easier than I thought it was going to be. So much easier. You guys that shot film, I don't know why the hell you did this. So what I resorted to was watching YouTube videos so I can figure it out myself. The same way that I produce content for you guys to learn, I use the same content to learn new things, and there's nothing wrong with that. So nonetheless, I think this is going to be an interesting side project to bring to the table for you guys that are interested in trying something new. It doesn't have to be a prevalent part of the channel, but I think it's fun for a lot of you that are wanting to try something new. The cost of my film cameras, and just being very clear and honest, the A2E was $40. The AE1 that I wound up purchasing was about $75 to $100 because I purchased it on eBay with a great rating. I purchased a couple other cameras and I'll list them below, but I kind of went camera crazy when it came to film, and the film itself is pretty inexpensive. If you guys want to have digital files of those specific film shots and you want to get those scanned, you can either do it yourself, or if you have the accessibility of living in a place like New York City, you have print houses that are available here for you. They'll print, scan your images. If you're interested in drum scanning, that'll be a whole separate conversation for another day, but you have the availability to even have TIFF files of your specific images. I didn't go with a household scanner specifically because I'm not going to be developing my own work. Again, I love the idea of shooting film, but I also love the convenience of dropping my film off to a specific location. So I'm dropping my work off to the House of Color here in New York City. I'll leave their information in the comment section below, or the thumbnail below. I love the accessibility of shooting film. I love the process. I do not like developing, not yet. I wanna enjoy myself learning how to use a camera, learning how to use the lenses, learning how to manual focus again. That's all fun. I don't want to bring too much complications into this new process for me. So it's also been a great learning experience. Now, I know a lot of you are potentially interested in learning film photography, and I'm not going to be a film enthusiast. It's not something that I want to take passionately by any means, but I think it would be a fun side project for most of you. And it doesn't, again, have to be very expensive. I think I'm gonna make a video on finding my first film cameras and deciding which ones I specifically use versus which ones I potentially was gonna use, which ones I invested in, why I invested in those specific cameras. That would be an awesome little video to have. Each of them are budget cameras, minus one, I think is outside of people's budget for a side project camera. With that, I will leave you with this short segment. Again, how many of you are interested in shooting film? How many of you want to learn how to process that film? I'll be happy to include interviews and conversations with those friends of mine that actually do shoot film and teach at institutions on an institutional level how to develop film and their processes and what they're doing. I think that would be a fun process. But I thank you guys for watching, and try something new. Even if it's shooting film, even if it's trying a new lens, go back to the basics. You might find that it's a lot of fun, and it just takes you out of the mundane, ritualistic experiences that photography can have over a long period of time. With that, you guys have an amazing day.